Michael Koski serves as the director of the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Highway Operations Center, or HOC, and has been in his role for just over 5 years. The MassDOT HOC handles statewide operations, including the 7 miles of tunnels running under Boston. Prior to joining MassDOT, Mike served in the Army and the Army National Guard on active duty for 24 years. He has a BA from Norwich University, a Master of Science in Homeland Security Studies from Endicott College, and is a graduate of the Army Command and General Staff College. We thank you for your service, Michael. And I also would like to introduce Lieutenant Webb Johnson, who's the commander for the barracks close to the tunnels, or right at the end of the large tunnel system right there in Boston. And Lieutenant Webb Johnson is going to tag team with Mike on this presentation. So with that, Michael.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Lieutenant Webb Johnson, for joining me today. Also, I got scrolled away in my room here. I get Ronnie Vitale, who is the Superintendent of Operations for the HOC. He's been with the Highway Operations Center now for 24 years. First started as an operator, and now he basically runs the day-to-day operations here. Before I get started, I want to get in the next slide. So, full disclosure, I am not an EV fire expert or an expert on gases released in the EV fires or thermal runoff, or even how to go about putting one of these fires out. Just someone that was fortunate enough to lead the AAR because of my role here at the HOC. I was able to see this at the 30,000 foot level, and with the assistance of those on the ground, put this all together. So these are the slides that are taken from the AAR myself and the lieutenant conducted back in October of 24. We had all the players in the room, which was partially why we held the AAR in the first place, because a number of the key players were either new or brand new to their position. So it was great to have everyone there to meet everyone. And like I said, just about everyone that had a piece of this incident at the AAR, from Boston Fire, which unfortunately couldn't attend today, to the MassDOT tunnel inspection team, to the Mass Department of Environmental Protection, and everyone in between. So you saw the agenda there. I broke it down into 3 phases: identification, response, and clearance, just to sort of break the incident up. With each one of those phases having some interesting challenges that helped us form our key takeaways. And to help paint the picture, I was able to grab a small portion of the radio and phone conversations, as well as some CCTV that really fueled our conversations. Just to set the stage, as with any other major incident, there was a number of contributing factors. This one, obviously, no different. It was a beautiful day, Friday afternoon on Memorial Day weekend, about 4 p.m. So just about quitting time for everyone. Everyone is either trying to get to the airport out of the city for the long weekend. Traffic is already heavy, which is pretty typical for a Friday afternoon, but obviously it was about to get a lot worse. And I guess bottom line up front, sort of, thankfully, nobody was seriously injured in this incident. There were some folks that were taken to the hospitals with smoke inhalation, but no major injuries were reported. Next slide. All right, so this is what we call the Boston, the Metropolitan Highway System. The circle, I'm sure you guys can see this circle, is sort of Boston proper and surrounding areas. You have South Boston, just south of that blue star to orient you, and then as you move west, Fenway Park, Kenmore Square, Prudential Tunnel, and then moving sort of above that, Cambridge, into the north end, Somerville, Zakim Bridge, and then Boston Logan Airport is to the east there. So this is the area that a lot of the area that Lieutenant Webb Johnson's patrol is his troopers patrol. Next slide. All right, so this is just sort of this is south of the city, basically just south of downtown Boston. I'm sure you guys have all heard of the Big Dig. This water section right above where it says, or right beside where it says VB1, is the Fort Point Channel, which is one of the critical pieces of that project. They basically had to put in a tunnel over an existing MBTA tunnel, a train tunnel, not disturb the commuter flow or any of the major businesses around it. So that one of the critical points of that. And then if you move, I guess, east of that line, just past that, just off the screen is where the HOC and H9 are co-located. And then further east of that is Logan Airport and into the Ted Williams Tunnel. Next slide. All right, so this is just a drill down view of the spaghetti bowl of highway tunnels and ramps in the immediate area of the crash. You see that red is that box, approximate area location of the crash. It's right at vent building 1. The green lines you see on there are regular highways and service roads, basically open air. The yellow roads are the on and off ramps, and then the blue ramps and highways are all underground. I think Jim noted earlier, there's basically roughly about 7 miles of tunnels underneath Boston. It is the most complex tunnel network in the United States, maybe the world. I haven't been there, but they are all layered. Some of the tunnels are layered on top of each other. So in some cases built under existing subway stations or over subway stations lines. So there's some contour, there's on and off ramps, there's mergers. It can be a mess down there. Even if you're a local, very few folks, and I know the LT can attest to this, very few folks know whether if you're on a ramp or a tunnel. So when you're trying to call into a crash, it's very difficult to figure out where you are, and just as difficult for the H9 troopers trying to respond. Next slide. This next slide is just a cross section of the area of the incident. It also shows our ventilation zones. HOC has CCTV cameras in the MHS to the tune of probably just over 800 or so cameras, and they're spaced out about every 500 feet within the tunnels. So we do have great coverage down there. It's just a matter of whether or not those cameras are operational or not. Next slide. All right, so here's the timeline we had. As I said, I broke this into 3 phases: identification, response, and clearance. From flash to bang, we're talking about 4 hours and 42 minutes, give or take. So not great in terms of traffic incident management, but obviously there are a number of factors that impact that timeline, as you can imagine. Just want to play just a couple quick phone grabs we had. This is the first call we received at the HOC at 16:02.
Highway Operations Center, recording line, Steve speaking.
Steve, can you check eastbound just prior to the 135 for a 2-car?
Eastbound 135. We'll check it out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so it didn't come in as a fire initially, just a crash, 2-car. We couldn't find it. I played 1611. This is how we actually found it.
Definitely on the L ramp. I got people running the other way.
So that was one of Lieutenant's troopers. We had people running out of one of the ramps, the L ramp, and that's how we were able to identify the fire. It was 11 minutes later, and then Boston Fire shows up on scene at 16:23 to give a sit rep.
Engine 3 answering.
Engine 3, give me a report, please.
Yep. We got 3 cars fully involved with fire coming up on the ceiling. Heavy smoke, can't see on the other side. Can't of all the smoke.
Okay, let me know when you get water on the fire. Command to fire alarm. Command. Hey, give me a second alarm. Have the company stage at the entrances we discussed at the contraflow area and the access to the FRamp. Okay, and the FRamp was Albany to Albany connected to 90 East? That's correct. Okay, orders the chief reading second alarm box 9122 for the car fire at 90 eastbound.
All right, as you can see, a couple things. The initial report from the engine on scene, 3 cars on fire, ceilings on fire. And at that point, we had kicked on a ventilation, and all of the smoke in front of the fire was all getting pushed forward through this with the supply fans, and they couldn't see anything forward of the crash. And then at the end of it, you could even tell, you know, this is Boston Fire wasn't exactly sure where they were supposed to go. So next slide. All right, so the initial crash, and I'll show it to you in a quick second, but wasn't a huge deal in terms of crashes, but you'll see how it went. This down here in the lower right-hand corner is a screen grab from one of our fire zones in our ITMS, which is a relic system from the 90s and is basically running on chewing gum and 550 cord at this point. We are developing a new ATMS or ITMS right now, which should be online in, I think, about 2 years or so. And just in terms of our fire zones, it's basically an underground address system we use as common language between the state police, the HOC, and Boston Fire. And then internally, it shows our ventilation plan, infrastructure locator in terms of like standpipes, cross passages, utility closets, tunnel egresses, etc. All in one shot. So with that, one of the unique tasks we have as the HOC, our operators, we talk directly to the Boston Fire Department engines. Using these fire zones, they have run cards in their apparatus, so they know exactly where they need to respond, whether that's a regular response, counter, or contraflow, and then we can talk them right onto the X. Next slide. All right, this is a video of the crash, the initial crash. You can let that play. You'll see on the left-hand side of that column wall. Oh, yeah, there's a play. Yeah, should be able to play. There you go. We'll be rolling in right here. This is the hybrid car. So as you see, that was a impact and immediate flames. Next slide is plus 5 minutes. So as you can see there, we got full flames. The smoke is throughout the tunnel now. The ventilation has not started, so it's behind it. It's in front of it. You just saw one of the small explosions. And then the next slide, next video. So we've identified the fire locator, or we've identified the fire, and we've activated the ventilation plan, and you'll see that start to kick in here. You'll see the smoke. Basically, all those smoke that was from behind it is now getting pushed forward with the supply fans. And this becomes basically a blackout condition. So anyone trying to drive through there right now is sort of taking their lives in their own hands, because they won't be able to see anything in front of them. That's at this point, we have the trooper is probably about 10 feet behind this camera view. There's 2 troopers there, and I'll show you that in a second. You can cut that. That's basically how it goes. And once the ventilation kicks on fully, you'll be able to see a little bit more. Next slide. All right, we went over these. These are just, we already listened to these. Next slide. All right, so this is what the trooper, this is when Boston Fire pulls up. Now, again, troopers are on scene at 16:13, and Boston Fire doesn't roll up until 16:23. You can let that play. So these troopers are down there for roughly 10 minutes without PPE. You can see I don't know if you can see it, but there's fire on the ceiling on the other side of the wall. Okay, next slide. All right, so key takeaways for phase one. First and foremost, and not on this list, we, as in the HOC, could not find the incident in the tunnel. And without confirmation location, Boston Fire was dispatched, and they did what they were, basically what they were told, given the information they had, and entered the Ted Williams Tunnel, which is about, a mile east of where they needed to be. By the time, and they occupied vent building 6, which is about the same location, to start filling standpipes at that location. And by the time they were able to course correct, fight traffic, etc., we were a day late and $1 short. Now, we had a number of cameras that were out of service, but we needed to conduct a wider search of the area, and that was sort of a big part of the problem. But our first key takeaway, and I'll highlight 2 of them, and I'll let the lieutenant talk about this a little bit more, but state police was in the tunnel for roughly 10 minutes, like I said, before we could step up the supply fans and move some smoke. And because of this, state police in the process of developing protocols for H9 and researching PPE. LT, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, there hasn't been a lot of movement on that. I've spoken to people up at headquarters, and we're still kind of waiting on that. So there hasn't been a lot of movement on that so far.
Do you want to talk about the situation that troopers rolled up on?
Certainly. So as Michael was saying, the biggest challenge here is it's a very complex tunnel system, and identifying where exactly something happens if it's not on camera and the HOC can't pinpoint it is problematic at times. We talked about improvements to that, and one of the things we definitely advocated for was to better signage within the tunnels, so that when people call, they can look left, look right, and see a big sign that says FRamp, and they can provide that information to 911, and that would have helped in this situation. Another issue that we have over here is we have a lot of turnover with newer troopers coming in and out of this barracks, and it's a learning process. It takes a little while, as Michael will attest to learn all these ramps. And to address that, we implemented a computer program that uses GPS pinpoints to try to give them a tool to assist them in getting to the right ramps. During an incident like this, it's really important that it's a team response, that all the troopers in the air are able to shut down ramps, evacuate ramps where necessary, so that we can get fire and EMS and tows to an incident such as this.
Thanks. Yeah, and Lieutenant was alluded to these picture on the right-hand side there. So when most people call in, they have no idea where they are once they go underground. They're right now, the only 2 real things we have is if sometimes it's brown on the wall and sometimes it's blue, and that lets them know whether they're under land or underwater. But really, I mean, that only narrows it down a little bit. So, usually the call's like, oh, I'm in the Ted Williams Tunnel, or I'm on 93 North, but in reality, they could be on any one of a dozen ramps in the tunnels. So what we're doing now, you see that picture to the right, these are the signs that are going up. They are about probably about 1 foot by 2 feet, and green. They're just about eye level, and it says exactly where they are. Ramp RT. This picture of that it says Ramp RT. District 6, which is our MassDOT land-based commander, if you will. They are putting these signs up throughout the tunnel network down there. So this should help us really narrow that search area, which will lead to a quicker response. And the lieutenant talked about trying to find folks using camera systems, and then, you know, with a better understanding of where everything is, hopefully be able to find people a little bit faster. Next slide. All right, phase 2 response. You saw BFD, Boston Fire, arrived on scene at 16:23. So the fire was basically burning about 20 minutes already at that point, and they had 2 of the 3 cars out in about 15 minutes. But they didn't identify the middle car as a hybrid from the 20 minutes or so. You know, at this point, we had people abandoning vehicles, running out of the tunnel. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe state police were finding people everywhere, cross passages, emergency tunnel egresses, utility rooms, whatnot. Next slide. Listen to a couple of the calls here. 1636.
03 seconds.
We're making progress on the car fires. 2 cars are out. Working on the last car. Looks like the fuel tank let go.
So 2 of the 3, you know, can all enjoy the nice Boston accents. That's what it is. So 2 of the 3 cars at that point, and they're still trying to fight the third. And then H9, 1643.
We located that family as well as the 2 operatives from the other 2 vehicles. They were in one of the emergency exits.
And then 1654. So, you know, an hour after we've just figured out that the vehicle is a hybrid. Can I play that?
The vehicle fire that will not go out now appears to be a hybrid, and it's possibly the battery compartment that's involved. Does engine 22 carry the piercing nozzle?
And then another, you know, 20 minute or couple 17 minutes after that, you get the 1712.
Operations call, command. Command answer. We have engine 22 on scene. We're shutting down all lines. All visible fires knocked down except for that battery compartment. Engine 22 is going to deploy their battery nozzle.
All right, and then by 1727, they have that fire out. Next slide. So while all this is taking place, MassDOT along with so this video is of the, you know, them putting out the fires, but all this is taking place, MassDOT along with state police are blocking feeder ramps and surface roads. HOC is putting up VMS boards, coordinating with Boston EMS, Mass DEP, and making the proper notifications. Again, you know, this is the start of Memorial Day weekend, so traffic in the city is completely jammed up at this point. Next slide. So this is the ramp for that parallel roadway. That is HOV eastbound. So as you see, some of the, you know, people are just out of their vehicles. The people walking around, their vehicles are inside the tunnel. You have people trying to back out to nowhere because there's really nowhere to go really at that point. And in the top part of it, you can see all the smoke that's coming out of vent building 1. So that, you know, we know that's doing its job. Next slide. All right, so key takeaways for phase 2. There was no real way to tell if that vehicle was a hybrid or an electric vehicle. Obviously, you have some cars that are easy to identify, and then others are just not. So unless the driver remains with the vehicle, you know, how do we know? We tried to engage a little bit with the RMV, but there's no real headway there. Just because it's very difficult to come up with any viable solutions for a marking system. I think the easiest way to do it is to add added to the 911 call center as a standard question for a car fire. You know, what kind of car is it? And then the second key takeaway we Lieutenant already talked about a little bit is the protocols for our deserted vehicles, locating drivers, getting the back of the vehicles when safe to do so. I know the state police, they're actively working on that piece, and I did have a quick look at you know, what they had presented with the map system they have on their tablets. It's great. It's a fantastic upgrade for them. Next slide. So third phase clearance took us a little while to get the ramp back open. Cleanup, inspections had to be made, outside resources had to be pulled in, you know, all coordinated here at the HOC. But we weren't able to clear and open that until 2042, you know, 4 hours and 42 minutes later. Next slide. Here's just a picture of the aftermath. Those three vehicles, and then now you can see on the right side there that the ramp is blocked down a ramp L. Next slide. Just a couple phone grabs here. We don't have to go through listen to these. We're kind of getting long in the tooth here, but you know, last car loaded onto an IRO flatbed, and then you know, they did an inspection of the tunnel, came back. It was pretty minor damage to the tunnel. It was mostly, you know, lighting in one of our cameras got melted, and then some tiles got melted in the, you know, the ceiling. But in terms of where it wasn't that bad. And then maintenance reopening the ramp at 8:42. Next slide. Yeah, you can play that if you want. This is the local news story on it.
Glenn Youngkin underfunded our schools and reduced.
Should skip right over that.
Now there's a teacher shortage and test scores are declining. But Youngkin supports Trump's plan to cut billions more from Virginia schools. Learn more and defend our schools.
And we begin tonight with a holiday weekend travel mess. 3 cars catch on fire on a ramp leading to the Ted Williams Tunnel. People actually running for their lives inside. We know 3 people were taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm David Wade. We know the cars have been towed out of the tunnel. MassDOT now warning about 2 I-93 North ramp closures as they're checking for tunnel damage. The HOV eastbound ramp and the frontage road ramp both remaining shut down at this hour. Let's get right out to Brandon Truitt. He's live in the seaport where those cars have been towed to. Brandon.
Well, David, let me show you what's left of them at this point, as you're saying, off the road and now out of the tunnels. You can see those cars really just a shell of what they used to be. These are the 3 cars involved
please
in
move
that
forward
fire.
to the next slide.
Since.
All right, thank you. That was just a wrap up of everything I just told you, but on the media side. So phase 3, 2 takeaways here that I had. I don't know if the LTV had one, but one, our IROs and HAPs need to take extra caution with EVs. As you know, they can reignite at any time. So they've since implemented some protocols at the local level, specifically for loading the EVs, which I don't have much info on, unfortunately. They don't report to me, but I know that they are working on that or have worked on that. And then the second thing that I have is we have to give pretty precise information to the tunnel inspectors when they go out. They need a precise, it's very important so they know what they're up against in terms of different parts of the tunnel network where the fire occurred. So where this one could have been much greater impact on the inspection process, this was just a roof, where other sections could have an exhaust plenum above, which has other infrastructure that they would then require further inspections on, which would have taken much longer to complete. LT, do you have anything to add on this part on clearance?
I'm sorry?
Anything to add on the clearance phase of this?
No, I don't think that was a huge huge issue once we
Yeah,
got it
we ran
identified.
through this piece pretty good. This is what we're good at. And that's all we got. Next slide. That's all I got. Happy to answer any questions. Sorry about the time. Ran a little bit long.
No problem, Michael. Thank you and Lieutenant Johnson for the excellent presentation. Obviously, a tunnel system of that magnitude is, as you said, complicated and, you know, pinpointing where crashes occur. And as you said earlier, when we first spoke about you presenting, you know, the different technologies that you have with cameras and whatnot help. But I think you said you're going to be updating your advanced traffic management system or intelligent traffic management system. So a quick question for you and the lieutenant, maybe. We understand MassDOT is transitioning to a new ATMS system. Can you share a little bit about the system and how the change may improve incident detection and response?
Sure. So for us, as I said, the ITMS system, we're just, you know, basically what we have right now is old. It's running on its last legs. It is 1990s technology, but it works for us in terms of what we have in place. So we're basically just updating that. We are, you know, basically taking the 28 different operating systems that we have and trying to put it on a single pane of glass. What that will do will help us add in some space to add in some of our incident location technologies that we have in place, such as we have a partnership with a news network tool. We have a partnership with Waze. Obviously, our camera system will be upgraded a little bit in terms of being able to go up and downstream, and that will just allow us to talk to H9 as well as Boston Fire and locate incidents a little bit quicker.
What advice might you offer to other metropolitan regions considering wrong-way driving safety strategies?
I'd like to try to answer that question, Jim, if I could.
Please, go ahead.
In the metropolitan planning process, we have something called performance-based planning and programming. And there's PM1, PM2, PM3. PM1 is safety, PM-1. And as part of the transportation performance management efforts, projects are supposed to be prioritized on these based on the needs for the region. So MPOs that have a safety need and it's a high priority, they can add additional points to their project selection process to move those projects up higher in the project list in both their MTP, their long range plan, and their short range program, their TIP. And they can do that leveraging that PM1 data, the targets that they adopt, and the criteria used for project selection to move those projects and advance safety and improvements to wrong-way driving if necessary. I hope that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, as Kirk offered, and to any of our presenters, if you have any other inquiries or questions, technical or otherwise, please feel free to reach out to our presenters. I have another one for the wrong-way driving presenters. Has any of the regions conducted a cost-benefit assessment of the implementation?
Tomas, do you have any?
To my awareness, no, to be honest with you.
Okay.
That might be something that we can consider doing in the future, though, as we have more and more systems being implemented and we have more of a grasp of their effect.
I know in Tomas in San Antonio, TxDOT's partnered with TTI to develop benefit cost ratios. And it looks like the benefit costs are around range from 11.5, 12 to 1 to 14 to 1. And actually looking at project cost savings in the thousands based on what they've done to put in wrong way, do not enter ramp radars, enhancing the signing and markings, lower cost projects. So there is a large benefit to cost improvement based on the TransGuide data that we've gotten from TxDOT and TTI. Another one was in Houston. They've looked at ramp-based wrong-way driving detection on tollways. There's no published BC ratio, but there's also some research reports that are put out by Research and Technology Implementation Division of TxDOT. One of them was Project 0-7119, and they've looked at economic benefit frameworks on how to run local benefit cost analysis with districts, but there's not a single statewide benefit cost figure for those types of projects. And also the TxDOT RTI's project number 0-6769. They looked at the effectiveness of the San Antonio's benefit cost program, case studies, and while it doesn't present a single benefit cost number, it documents how the crash incident reductions were found based on that low cost countermeasures. So those are some examples I found.
Yeah, and important information. Thanks for sharing that, Kirk and Tomas. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget that the Talking Tim webinars are recorded. So I'm sure most of you think about wrong way driving. I hope you do. I have had the unfortunate circumstance of witnessing a couple over the past many years. So I'm constantly warning my family and friends about wrong way driving, drivers, I should say. And, it's amazing how all of a sudden around a curve, day or night, and you heard Kirk share the fact that most of these incidents occur at night, I believe, you could be staring at a vehicle coming at you. So I want to ask again, here's another wrong way driving incident. Then I wanted to ask Michael Koski about a question regarding the, just to give you a heads up, Michael, piercing nozzles. But let me ask this question that came from Saran Becker. How do right way drivers typically react when reading about a wrong way driver incident? Have you ever observed erratic behavior or drivers deciding to fully stop on the freeway? Kirk or Tomas?
I don't work at the TMC, so I haven't observed how drivers react. So I cannot really answer the question, but we had a TISMO summit not too long ago, and somebody in the audience asked, well, shouldn't we guide drivers? Because this particular person said, if I see that warning, what am I supposed to do? Get on the shoulder, stop, look around. And that's a topic that I think we're gonna have to address, not just as a DOT, but it also involves driver training and whatnot. When you see a wrong way driver, what should you do? A gentleman from Utah that was there in the summit says that they are hesitant on providing such guidance because they don't want the liability. But I think that some guidance would probably be better than none, because at least the warning is intended to make the driver vigilant. But yeah, it could lend to some erratic behavior too.
Yes. Kirk, you want to add anything there?
I think it depends on the situation. I can't give advice on how to avoid a wrong way driver, but I would immediately contact the Highway Patrol, 911, and get that driver off the road as soon as possible before he kills somebody.
Yeah. And I can tell you real quick, when I saw the drivers, those two incidents, coming at us, my family, even though the vehicle appeared to be far away, I hesitated to immediately go to a shoulder, right or left, but I eventually did make the decision to go to a shoulder and stop. And the driver just kept going and then collided head on with a vehicle upstream from me. So anyway, thank you both for the presentation. The question I have for you, Michael, is regarding the piercing nozzles. Do you offhand know how many fire rescue apparatus, how many piercing nozzles they carry on a fire engine? And if you don't know, that's okay. We can find out.
Yeah, I don't know specifically. All I know, I've in the past couple months within Boston, I've heard them call for engine 22. So it must be on that one apparatus for sure. I don't know about any others. I can get the information though.
Okay. Well, thank you. Let's see. Well, Sharon earlier had made the comment about the signage and people panicking. Obviously, in a tunnel with a fire incident going on, it's obvious that motorists are going to panic, and there's no getting around that. But the better the signage and the guidance system, whatever it may be, will help. So we have 6 minutes left. And one thing I want to make sure to ask of all we still have just under 100 participants on the webinar right now. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, ideas for presentations, if you're doing something different in your state, your municipality, that is obviously TIM related, we want to hear from you. And please share, send me an email, what have you, and we'll definitely consider you presenting at a future Talking TIM webinar. These Talking TIM webinars have been just greatly, how should I say, received. And the presenters, such as those here today, are fantastic and work hard to bring you the latest information regarding whatever the technology or problem it is that they're dealing with. So obviously, crashes never cease, day or night, and we're all in this together. And I want to make sure that we continue to bring high quality products and presentations and services, ideas, what have you, to the community. Another thing is definitely share, if you don't already, share the information regarding Talking TIM, the NOCO website, where you can register to be notified to participate in the Talking TIM webinars. So with 3 minutes left, any parting comments from either you, Kirk, Michael, Tomas? I don't see the lieutenant. I think he had to drop. Yeah. Any last minute comments?
Nothing from my end. Thank you.
Jim, I just wanted to thank you all and for putting together this information. I think it's very important to get the word out and to share best practices across the states and learn from each other's experiences. And you guys are doing a fantastic job in doing that. So thank you for your efforts, Vaishali.
Yeah.
And you.
Yeah. Thank you, Kirk. Absolutely important. So, I'll give you back a couple minutes. How about that? And to echo Kirk, thank you to Michael and the lieutenant, Tomas and Kirk, and of course, Vaishali Shaw, my contractor that supports these webinars for me and does a great job. And for sure, Kevin Vita from the National Operations Center of Excellence. Take advantage of these links that you see here on the slide. And please, please, please keep in touch. If there's anything you want to talk, reach out. So with that, God bless, take care, and bye for now. Stay safe.